All right, as we look at the calf and shin area, we're going to need to push here a bit more to get it to really feel like this calf muscle is inserting up in under the muscles from the upper leg. All right, so this muscle, it is actually two muscles hanging on the back of the leg there. But on the side of the calf muscle here, there's also about 3 more muscles that come down on the side of the leg. So this muscle here is really its own thing. And then there's a couple more forward from here. Now, thinner one right there in the middle. Let's kind of bulge this up a bit. Too big of a brush. Add a little more volume in there. Then we can flatten that out a bit. And then back. So now when we sculpt on that, we're going to get a little bit more predictable result right there. So now as we bulge up the muscle a little bit, we're going to get some natural valleys in between. Holding down the control key, carve in a little bit extra so that as we go in with the sculpt brush, or the smooth brush, and start taking a little bit of that kind of hard edge out of there, we don't want to lose too much detail. So going in and out of the surface is usually a pretty good idea. Alright. Now, the boot socks he's wearing, they feel a little too much like socks. So we're going to have to work on kind of pushing those a bit more. And a lot of this detail is going to end up covering up, because those boots are going to extend more mid-calf. Push the knee bone out a bit here. So then the shin gets a bit more pronounced through there. That works a little better. Then we smooth that back in. Alright, and then we can get quite a bit bigger brush back here on the calf muscle to soften it up pretty quickly. So we still want some muscle definition, but not so much bulk, especially on the side of the calf there. You know, there's some defined muscle, but we don't want it too defined or it just starts to look fake. So we bring this over a bit more, basically. Then, with a much smaller brush, we carve in a little bit more right there. Then smooth, decrease the strength, little softening right there. That looks pretty good. Alright, so big soft brush to help start pushing that muscle around. And then we just keep trying to decrease brush size as we add detail. Smooth that out. The calf muscles come down and attach to a band of tendon down here that runs all the way down to the heel, the Achilles tendon. So we want to make it look like there's some attachment without trying to emphasize it too much. And again, a lot of this detail is going to end up getting covered up, so we don't have to worry too much. but a good understanding of musculature and how all this stuff works together really does help in the whole modeling process. So the more realistic we make our base mesh, really, the easier it is to add all the details. We need to smooth this out a bit. It just comes out too much. Now, if I just can't smooth that back in, I'll go with the grab brush. Make it a little bit bigger. Kind of take that whole area in a bit. So I can still redirect the mesh by using the grab brush. So for some of this kind of stuff, where we just want to move it and actually change the flow of the geometry, the grab brush works really nicely. All right, and whatever we do, we can still go back and smooth it. So we'll get a bit bigger here because that calf muscle is just too big. We'll bring the whole side in a bit. Little more. That looks a little better. So we'll increase that a little more on the inside there. Now we'll go back, smooth this edge a bit more. So we want that muscle mass itself a little more rounded. And then we need to, with a pretty small brush here, carve in a little bit around that muscle. So we've got a little bit of room to smooth it. So now let's go back. It'll help define muscles on the inside part of the leg and help us round out and soften. So then back, we'll carve a little bit more here. And then soften. So a little bit of definition there goes a long way. So those shins, calf muscles look pretty good. We'll smooth it out a little more right there. Just add a little definition around the knee. There we go. That looks pretty nice.